can't hear it.
You're live.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hottest thing to ever come out.
Hey, how many people you tap?
Any
A
season
lot.
of
How many
anything.
people you tap? A lot. How many people you tap? A lot. How many people you tap?
Man.
A lot. How many people you tap?
So now everybody can see why I've been so hyped up on Evan.
How many times you been?
Going into
How
this
many times
season.
you win? A lot. How
I
many
don't
times
just
you
act
win?
silly
A lot.
about
How many
people
times
or
you
blow
play?
people up for
How
no
many hours
reason.
you
There's
put
got
on
to
the
always
record, you
be
know you
something
never
going
get
on,
back.
you know.
A lot. Fearless make them killers.
I think Evan's surprising a lot of people being a blue belt, coming out here competing with some real talented grapplers and all sorts of stuff. Say again? Oh, that's the song still in the background. This is a little bit weird with this remote thing. Turn my headphones up. So what's up, y'all?
What's going on, man?
Same old same, I guess, huh? That was not the right thing to do. I don't know how to use Zoom. I'm a noob. Just sitting here chilling, man. We're down in, I think this is Fernandina Beach, Amelia Island. Came down here with Mandy and the kids, and Richard, him and Dax down here gonna play, spend the weekend chilling out. Man, last night took forever to get the show. I think YouTube is trying to hold us down. I don't know why they're against us and don't want everybody to see what we do, but it finally came out. I don't know. It was super late by the time it came on. I don't even know what time it was, but the show was pretty good. You can really see the actions turning up now, and you can see people are really digging in, trying to get their points. And the interesting thing is some of the post-fight interviews now. I said this to you, Isaac. It's going to be interesting to see what people were saying every night about each other and after their matches and what they thought about stuff, because I think some people feel a kind of way about a match they had, and I didn't feel like it was the way that they did. Some people had a lot harder time with other people than they should have, I think, and then didn't, and then it probably left them in a bad way. So without going too much into the drama side of things or whatever, that's pretty interesting to me to see everybody's behind the scenes interviews and how they actually felt night to night. Because, like I said, we really didn't know what everybody was feeling besides what everybody shows you when you're in those like public settings and stuff like that. So it's kind of tough to judge it, but seeing everybody's post-fight interviews is I think I was pretty spot on in how I think people were playing the game or not playing the game and how they felt about how they were doing for the most part. Up until now, I think I've been right about most of the predictions that I had, except for the couple wild ones that people are all surprised about, like the shoulder pressure tap from Evan and the heel hook on Matt, despite whatever injury stuff that you may see or whatever. Another interesting part about this week's show is for, reason it doesn't matter. Jake had a previous engagement that was on the day that our match was supposed to be. And so on our day off, we actually had to do a makeup day. And so it was only Jake and Matt that day versus their 3 matches from that one night they missed. So I only did 1 match that whole night when I had Jake. So I came in and we had our match and that was it. But he had 2 other matches prior to mine. So that was an interesting side story of all of it. It falls that he was what was that, 3rd or 4th match? Was that the 4th match?
I think it fell 4th. Y'all were first on the list, and then it was 4th on the show.
Well, I mean in my order.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Or was he 6th? He was supposed to be 6th. The 3rd match of block 2, but we missed that, and he ended up coming in after all the 2 more days of matches. So the matches that are going to happen, the match with Josh that was after that match already happened. The matches with Mega Mike and Elijah already happened. And I believe Randy Kamoy and Hunter happened before I go against Jake. But I'm not 100% sure on that. That might be wrong. That might be one day off in the timeline. But either way, it was an interesting thing. And as a competitor, Jake and I talked about this immediately after the match too. The night that we were supposed to go against each other, I was on fire. I had just dunked on Justin and Grayson, and so I was 2-0, and I would have went into Jake feeling pretty pumped up and fresh. And then, but he was also dunking on those two guys that he had matches on prior to me. So he did both of his wins in one day, and then had a match against me where I was not cold, like I warmed up or whatever, but it wasn't like where you had two other matches to get the grease going and stuff like that. So I don't think it would have necessarily changed the outcome per se, because Jake's a beast, and I expected that to go about how it did. I thought I would be able to get some better looks a couple of times, but I mean, the dude's a 2-time All-American wrestler for a reason. He's a stud. He's been a coach for some real national champions. Like, he's a stud guy. He's a real solid coach. He knows what he's doing.
3 C's.
Huh?
Thick with 3 C's.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And he's about that life. You know, he doesn't care about coming out there and sorting it out with people. And that's basically, and I steal that now from him, because that's what he was saying the whole time, is that it doesn't really matter what people say or think. We're going to all sort it out. We're going to all get to sort it out here together. We're going to see what's what. Everybody's going to touch each other. We're going to find out who we are, you know, and then if anybody wants to say anything else about how it goes, then they should have signed up, and they can come out here and sort it out with us too. You know, if you think you could handle me or Jake or Randy or heck, even Josh or Justin or Grayson, any of these guys, Evan, better than we did, then jump in there and see. You know, it's easy to sit down and say what you would do, could do, but when you get locked in that room and all eyes are on you, and you got to slap, bump, and go with this dude. What's up? You know, you got to run your game, and you better be ready to go, no matter how much you run your mouth. You know, so that's an interesting thing with this, and I really gained a lot of like confidence through just my interactions with Jake and Matt, and being around them and seeing how they talked and handling like situational stuff like that. It's like, no, man, don't let that chatter stuff get to you. That stuff doesn't matter at all. You got to go in there and handle your business, and if however it goes is how it goes. Is, you know, at least you're out there slinging it out. And that was basically my whole thing going into the PGF, was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I told everybody there's a handful of guys that might wreck me, but they're all going to have to prove it.
Yeah. Dude, did it surprise you any, like, at all? Like, from the first day that you met Evan and stuff, you talked to him about him when you first come in. Were you surprised at all? Or how surprised was you that he tried to call what he was going to do, and how close do you think he was on that? I wanted to talk about I wanted to ask you about that. I couldn't wait. I just wanted, like, he called, he was like, I'm gonna let him flip from turtle and try to go hug choke, and then like 3 seconds left, that's where he was at, and he was there. It was tight, but he just didn't have enough time. Do you think he would have finished that, or do you think it would have been more?
I think definitely in that situation, that night he would have eventually got the finish if there would have been more time. I don't know how much more time, but Kevin was pretty limited from his COVID and stuff like that. So he was having a hard time keeping his cardio up. If that was the Kevin prior to when he got sick, no, he would have been able to finish him in 10 days from right there, I don't think. But I think calling his shot, he did that because a couple reasons. One, they train together. They're in the same gym. They've rolled together a lot. They know each other very well. He knows Kevin's game. Kevin's probably somebody that he looks up to in the gym and is trying to like catch up to. So if you're a lower belt in the gym, you know what that's like. You want to, catch the blue belt or the purple belt or the brown belt or whatever. But if you watch the matches, this is Kevin's game. He will give up his back. He'll let people take his back. He tries to run those little fat boy rolls on people, like the Granby fat boy roll thing, or he'll do like short arm bars or little wrist locks, or that little Kimura thing that we tried to do in class that one day from the back. It's kind of, it's really funky stuff that's hard to anticipate unless you know. But if you've rolled with a guy a bunch and you've seen him roll a bunch, and then like in there, we started figuring out everybody's games pretty quick. Because you're just running and gunning. You don't have time to regroup and come out with a new plan. It's like you're just playing your game 15 times in 5 days. Like it's match, 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 match. It doesn't matter if you win or you lose. You have another match coming up. It's so different than like tournaments and things like that where you go and it's like, well, I got to get through this one guy and then maybe I'll have another match. It's like, no, you definitely have 2 more matches no matter what after this first guy. So it's a lot of different like strategies that are going into it. But Evan has seen enough of Kevin in the gym and in this competition to know that he was going to get his back and that he was going to be able to get him to start playing that loop underneath him where he's trying to like gator roll, fat boy roll, catch those little sneaky wrist locks and things like that. And so he was just anticipating that. So I don't think it was anything crazy.
So, Mr. Westbrooken, it seemed like Kevin was a bit annoyed by how rough Evan was with the cross faces in his interview. Was there any tension amongst the guys based on how everyone was competing?
That's a good question.
Okay, so I think we crossed this a little bit before in another episode. But yeah, I think Evan was a little bit handsy. I think he got a little aggressive. I think he was trying to find his way. Like I think he was literally in an environment that he was outclassed in every way. Everybody was bigger mentally. Everybody was bigger technically. Most people were bigger physically. So he was just trying to find his way, man. And after he started getting some taps on people, I mean, he got a little bit of power, you know, and then he wanted to compete. He was ready to go. Like he wanted some money. That's what I would say. Like he was trying to compete. So I think we all were ready to put Evan in his place once he started trying to come up and he was getting a little handsy, like putting, you know, with his cross faces and different things like that. And there was another match last week, I think, that he was a little handsy with. Oh no, that was when he took the bad leg on Matt or whatever.
Yeah, he baited the bad leg on Matt Elkins. I
mean, you know, if they weren't training partners and friends or whatever, they may not be friends. Maybe they're training partners and buddies or whatever. Then it wouldn't have been an issue that much like that. Cause like,
yeah,
I've attacked a guy's bad leg in a tournament before too, because he wouldn't tap any other way. So like, I mean, if my leg hurts and you tack it, if it's taped up, okay. If it's not taped up, okay. There's no reason, like I can't use that and say, oh man, he grabbed my bad arm. Well, don't have a bad arm and compete. You know, it's like, I get it. It's a little dick move, but I mean, I would do it.
Did you
there to win?
Yeah. Did you did you think that going in this tournament you was gonna become the hug choke guy? Like, I know, like I like training with you and stuff, but that's not something we see a lot from you. And then going into this is kind of like what you're getting known for. Like, I
mean, it's probably my best move. I think Matt's pretty right when he says that in the commentary stuff, and it's frustrating, to be honest. I don't know. It's stupid. It's like a personal beef that I have with myself. But I don't want to be known as just a head and arm guy, right? I guess I just want to be known as a finisher. So if that's what it takes to be known as a finisher, then yeah, I'll take all the head and arms. But no, man, it's boring. Like I don't really roll for those a lot when I'm training or when I'm doing other stuff, because I think they present themselves too much. I think it's too easy for me to get those on a lot of people with the style that I play. And so that would be like literally all that the class would be over and over and over for every roll was just a bunch of damn head and arms if I wanted to. And I don't know, man, that's boring. I've been doing that for 10 years now.
Yeah,
I did something else.
I didn't think I was like going into this. I was like, yeah, maybe one or two hook chokes, but I thought I was gonna see a lot more of Steven on the back and Steven playing, you know, playing
the
from
rules.
There. Yeah,
it's the rules. You have to get the 6 points. You had to go for chokes. And what were the easiest chokes? Nobody was really giving me their back. Nobody was giving me an opportunity. You know, when I was on my back a couple of times, the guys were passing my guard. Like my lockdown was decent, but it hasn't been outstanding. I haven't even been able to show any of my guard play because Sam took me down and passed right away. And then Jake obviously knows how to play the game. And each time I was trying to set up shop, he was able to, you know, to start moving and countering. So I don't know. It's tough. That's what I say, is that what I wanted to do versus what I could do are two different things. What I wanted to do was a lot of guard play and some cool sweeps and, you know, maybe get some rubber guard off on people and different things like that. But so far, I just haven't had the opportunity. And if I would have tried to force that, then I would have lost. Like I would have lost every match if I would have tried to force all that different stuff at this point. So you just got to be who you are, even if it's like not what you want to do sometimes. Sometimes you just got to stick to the basics and the fundamentals. And I mean, if it works, it works. There's no reason to, you know, to fix it if it's broken. You can always like, that's what I say, is that there's the art and then there's the martial side. If I'm trying to kill you, I don't care how it's done. I just want you to die. Right. But if we're having fun and we're just rolling and stuff, I don't care if neither one of us tap each other out. I don't care if both of us tap each other out. I don't care if you just tap me out. Like I'm just playing for fun and I'm trying to do something artistic in that moment. So this took me so far out of that headspace that it really bothered me. Like I started getting away from the art side a lot more once I got in there. And it was a struggle, honestly, in my headspace, because I was trying to be who I wanted to be, but I also wanted to damn win. Like I didn't want to look like a fool in there and be losing to these guys and getting zeros to a bunch of damn blue belts and stuff like that.
Well, Mr. Westbrook'n says that the way that you used the lockdown against Josh was masterful.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was
straight from the Eddie Bravo playbook.
There was a lot of people commenting on like, oh, people are trying to use a lockdown, but you used it well, like the way it was meant to be used or whatever. So.
I mean, there's a time for everything. Every guard has its time and lockdown has its plays, but there's certain times that it's not the play. And if all you're really doing is trying to like straighten your lockdown and stretch people out, you suck and you shouldn't be using your lockdown. You know what I mean? It's not a stalling technique. If you're using it to stall, they're going to pass your guard and you're wasting all your energy. So you need to be trying to hit that dip set or whipping them up, whipping them down and stuff. And every time I started to try to get that on like Jake, for instance, I would feel his knee go. So I would just open it up rather than keep trying to fight for that. And that's why I was trying to go to dog fight and different things like that with him, because it would, because that was the opportunity rather than staying into lockdown, which is maybe what I would have preferred. But dogfight off of lockdown going, it's just whatever the next play is off of that. But a lot of those guys, they're really using a very, very flawed mindset of what lockdown is. And that's what I think most people do. And if like you're in our classes and we've talked about lockdown, you hear me bang around about this stuff a lot. People don't know what they're doing. They do not understand what lockdown is, and they do not understand how you're supposed to use it. Most people. Unless you've been in the school with an instructor that knows how to use it and will actually like break down the plays of it, it's worthless almost, except for like a stalling technique, because you're just trying to lock up their leg and just wrap up their one leg and like stretch them out. Now you can't move because your hips are locked into a position where you're stuck. So you have to be able to be mobile with your hips, even though you're, quote, locked down. I'm not locked down. He's locked down. There's a difference. Yeah. So
last night, like in the comments and in the post-fight interviews, I was seeing a lot of people talking about the time, that 6 minutes, people saying maybe extend it off to 7-8 minutes. How did that affect your game going through this season?
I'm not a sprinter. I'm not good at that style. So it definitely was harder for me to get in there and do that and compete in my game with that rule set and still try to, look good, I guess I would say. 6 minutes is not that long when guys are well matched. Even matchup, it's really hard for guys to get advantage in 6 minutes. But at the same time, that 6 minutes forced us all to push really hard because nobody wanted to get draws. Nobody wanted to get zeros because you might as well just lose then. Like if you get a draw, it's a loss. So it forced your hand to really like push the pace on matches. Like that match last night with Jake and I, if that was a no time limit match, it would have been a lot slower paced. Like I wouldn't have been trying to hustle up as much as I was trying to from the back because that was burning a lot of energy from me that I really didn't need to use, but I wanted to be able to try to kill him. Like I was really hoping to get out and get a kill because that's how I got to do with a lot of those wrestler guys. I got to get them scrambling with me. And then they'll make one of those stupid wrestler mistakes, like they'll reach out for your leg as soon as they see it, and then you can take their back and stuff.
Shots fired.
But I mean, he knows the game. He's a purple belt under BMAC, so he's seen the lockdown a billion times. He's seen all the different stuff, and also again, he's a world class grappler. The guy is elite. Like he's not just okay at grappling. He's elite. So yeah, he passed my guard several times and stuff like that. But again, if you know what you're doing, then it's okay to let someone pass your guard because they can't submit you. 6 minutes is not enough time to beat a good grappler. Not if he's really not wanting you to submit him. It's pretty hard. Like you could trick guys, and it happens. That's what I'm saying. So I think it's fun. I think it made it more exciting this way because if you stretched it out to 10 minutes, all the matches would have been a lot slower. It would have been nearly as exciting. So I like the 6 minutes for this rule set. I do not like the 6 minutes for me though.
Makes sense.
Mr. Westbrooken again is asking, at this point of the show, you're about halfway through your matches. He said the matches that you have coming up, are they easier or more challenging in the future? I know you have Elijah left, and have you rolled with Hunter yet? Has that happened?
No. So this is what's funny. Like, I think after tonight on the show or whatever, I wanted to like exhale and be like, okay, that was it. You know, that was like one of the hardest nights, and we'll be done, you know, with that. But then, yeah, I still got a lot of tough guys. Every night I have at least one hard guy left. There's at least one guy every night that I have to play my game against, or I'm going to get submitted every night of this whole show. And that's how it worked out of my block. It was like, there was never a night where I was just like, all right, I'm dunking on everybody. Every night there was like, okay, I got to strategically play versus this guy and this guy because match 3 is going to be Elijah, or match 3 will be Hunter. Match 3 is going to be Jake. Literally match 3 for me was my hardest match almost every night. And so that's why I was kind of quizzing about that 2 matches into the third match kind of deal, because a couple times I was like, oh, I feel pretty good now though, because I've gotten that energy up and come down, a little bit. And so I'm like finding my stride by that third match a little bit more.
Playing that way with that mindset, I got 3 matches, then knowing like maybe the third one's the hardest. Did you go into some of these other matches thinking I need to conserve energy for that guy?
A couple of times, yes. There's definitely some that was. So this is what allowed me to go in so crazy against who was that, Justin and Grayson. It's because Jake would have been the third match that night, and I knew that he wasn't there. I knew I did not have a third match, and so I was like, F it, I'm going all in on these 2 matches because I don't have a third match that night, you know? And then there's one night, I don't know how it's going to play out on the schedule, but I think it was Randy first, then Kimoy, and then Hunter. So who do you conserve energy for? You know what I'm saying? So like you could ask Isaac, dude. I was just sitting there and like I played every scenario in my head a million times every day, and probably too much. And I think that's why I had such a big like letdown once I left emotionally, because I was literally living this freaking game by this point. This is all I was really thinking about, was trying to win this freaking game and get some money.
It's like preparing for battle, you know, like what, 5 days in a row?
Every
trying
day.
to get in that mental mindset. It's different.
See, I didn't get a day off. We were there for 6 days, and I grappled every day because I only had the one match with Jake night, so I didn't get a day off. And not everybody else didn't either. Like some other guys had that one match that night too, like I did. There was, 6 other guys that had single matches, but yeah, we didn't get a day off. So that like the day that we went to this the course with Lonnie, like we were on the teeter-totter and the hula hoop thing or whatever, that was my quote day off, but I still had Jake that night. So the whole day we're out there at this course trying to do these team building stuff. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get Jake, how I'm going to kill Jake. That's all I got. That's all I'm thinking about all day. I don't want to be doing all these other things because I got to fight Jake tonight. I don't want to build this team anymore. I want to kill Jake. Is this going to help me do that? Because that's what I want to be doing. I need to be sleeping. I need to be recovering. I need to be watching some tape. You know what I mean? It's like I was really starting to get too far into all that kind of stuff, worried about the strategy and seeing how it was going to play out. And you couldn't do that because everybody was tough. What you got to day 3, obviously look at Evan. You could have set Evan up early on. And whatever day you had Evan, if you looked at your schedule on day 1, you saw his rap song, you probably laughed. I looked at mine and I saw Evan was on the last day and I heard his song and I said, oh shit, it's going to be real. Like this kid's here to play. And then as I saw him start beating people, then I knew now match 1 on day 3 is now lit. We have to go on that day because this kid's coming to eat. So that took one of the nice matches off my schedule. So yeah, I don't think there's an easy match left. I don't think I have a single easy match left, to be honest with you. There's no dunks left for me.
He said that Mr. Westbrook is Matt. I don't know which Matt. But anywho,
Thanks, Matt.
So when you were going in and you were I know on the show, the Dream Show, where I was editing last night, how often did y'all go and like discuss kind of your plans? Because like this all plays out over the course of the like 6 days, but like y'all started figuring out who was at the top and who was at the bottom of the pecking order pretty quickly, didn't you?
Like I said, I think we all knew mostly when we got there. I think when we all got there and the teams were picked, I think we kind of knew for the most part who the top guys were going to be. Like I said, I think I had Zach replaced with Evan, but otherwise that would have been I would have had the same teams. Like this is exactly how I would have had the top 4, maybe not in this order, but this would have been the top 8 guys, 4 and 4 that I would have picked going in. And so then once we got put on these teams, there was definitely some times, especially I can't even remember what days it was, but there was definitely some times where Hunter, Sam, and myself were trying to figure out, who needed to beat who, when, and how to figure out how we could keep somebody like Elijah out of the money maybe, or keep, get all 3 of us in the top 3 spots.
That discussion is on this episode of the Dream Show, by the way.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out if there's a mathematical way to keep other people out, and stuff like that. So there was a lot of different things that were going on. But then, like I say, like none of that shit mattered once you got in there and started grappling. Like none of that really mattered once you got out there and you had to lock up with these guys, because everybody, like you see it now too. Like Grayson, I didn't realize that they had a whole plan just to not die. The whole plan was just to survive. So like that's so frustrating now, knowing, looking back, that these guys were perfect. Like some of these guys were put there almost just to dud it out, to stall you out, kind of. Not that that was the intent per se, but once they got there, they knew that was about the only chance they had, and that was their moral victory. So that was a little bit frustrating. So we started figuring out how we can dunk on everybody that needed to be dunked on, and get these points up there so we could be 1, 2, and 3, hopefully.
So Zach was hurt, like he hurt his lower back. Like, did that happen the very first day? Or was that something that, like, was there like a defining moment? Because it hasn't really been clear, like, when he got injured or hurt. I noticed that his whole game, like, the way that he plays, he couldn't really play because he was stapled to the mat a lot because he couldn't bridge, he couldn't invert, he couldn't keep his submissions up and stuff because he couldn't get in on the legs and things like that. Did that, like, or I know you and him are friends or whatever, like, when did that happen, or how did that happen, and does it affect him the rest of the time?
So in my mind, I think he carried some of that lower back stuff into the season. Like, I think he probably already had some of that from somewhere, like we all kind of do. But I think, honestly, the first match with me, when we started out with such a heavy pace and sprinting out like that so hard, put a lot of wear on him. And then other people saw that. And then he had a couple of other really hard matches that people were putting a lot of pressure on him, on his lower back when he was trying to invert. So, like, in his first day or two, I think day 1 did it. I don't want to say it was just me, because looking back now, seeing the matches he had, he still had Kamoy and Randy, I think. And even though he heel hooked Randy, he took a beating to do it. And even though he got that one last night, you see his back to do all the stuff he likes to do is really just destroying. Like, he was just really hurt. It does affect him. As you can see that it's affected him. Does it stop him? No, it doesn't. Is he not win another match? I don't know. I can't say. Like, I really forgot. You know what I'm saying? But, like, Zach's a gangster. He's as tough as they get. Like, he could have quit for sure. And none of us would have said anything bad about the guy. It was pretty rough to sit there and have to watch him. I think after this night with James, after he had that on his, like, he was hurt right there for a second, and he had just won. So, like, it was just he wasn't on my team either.
After the match that he was hurting after that one.
He was digging deep the whole time just to be there, just to stay. You know, he was fighting those demons the whole time. So yeah, it affected him, but I think he came out stronger on the other side of it because of how he handled it and how he kept pushing through it. Because he's dangerous. The same thing I said. He's dangerous from one to the end. You can't sleep on Zach, hurt or not. You know, so it definitely limited him, and I think that's why you see Evan now up in that spot that Zach would have had, probably. But that's the game, right? You're in this situation, and like I told you guys all when I was going up there, is like that was the one thing I did not want to have happen to me, is that I get hurt early or something like that, and then I have to like either draw out or quit, and then like or push through it and just keep getting beat by these guys that aren't as good as I am, but because I'm hurt, you know. But it's the game. You sign up for it. He's a G for going out there and finishing strong like he did, you know, and still getting taps. Like I say, is that he's still in the game. He's still in the hunt. I can't even remember how it shakes out to be at the end, but he's still in the hunt.
Egghead says that his money is on the Randy match being where the injury came from, saying that wrestlers can really put that pressure on.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think those are back to back too, right? I'm not sure.
I think that's how they lined up.
And so that was like within 10 minutes or 15 minutes of each other, those two matches where he had me and then Randy. So, dude, I was putting all the pressure I could possibly put down on him. Like that, I had no more pressure than what Zach caught that night. So, yeah, I assume it would be that. And then if he brought it into there already a little bit, then yeah. It's unfortunate, but that's the game, right? He's back out there competing already, so he's fine.
He's young.
And then how far apart was the Evan match after that? Because he's got incredible pressure too.
That was the next day. So that was after he'd already been a little bit hurt, and he came in the next day, and he had that triangle. And see, that I think that made it pretty much a lot worse too, is he was trying to do that triangle Evan so hard. And if you watch, he was like posting on his hip rather than like pulling him in, because if he pulls him in, that puts all that weight into his lower back a lot more.
Right.
But you actually can't finish a triangle hardly by pushing. So he was in a situation where he was having to figure out what was real and what was fake in his own game, and what he could and couldn't do anymore. So like his best stuff wasn't what he could do anymore. So we had to start telling him, hey man, you got to keep these guys in front of you. You can't keep inverting. You can't. So like, you'll see, he changes his game a little bit, and he does well.
Nice.
Egghead says, no disrespect, you smashed him well to make sure he didn't get that leg lock. So yeah, I think everybody agrees.
Oh no, yeah. I don't want to take the credit for hurting him. That's fine with me that somebody else hurt him. I would actually feel better if it wasn't me. You know, I don't want to be the guy that ruptured his back, but you know, that's okay. I just, like I said, when I left, I thought it was because of the way everything like just ran together. Like it all just kind of jumbled in my head. It's funny to see all this stuff back on the video now, because like you can literally make this stuff say whatever you want almost, minus the matches, but just the way that they're cutting it in some things, it's like, if you just kind of move some of these things around, it's so funny how it looks.
Did you think that it was going the way that people are talking in the post-fight stuff or the post-match stuff? Did you think that people were thinking the way that they were thinking, or is it just all of it just new to you? Because you were saying
some of it's pretty cool. Some of it's, you know, in line with what I mean or what I was thinking, I guess. But some of it, like, it's interesting listening to them talk. Like Jake and Randy talk about each other a little bit in the wrestling and stuff like that.
Well, Egghead asked, with only 6 minutes, does it start making sense to sit guard?
Yes, definitely.
I agree. I agree on pulling guard in that short amount of time, personally.
100%. It does. It makes a lot more sense than that. But in my normal style, no. And that's why I need that little bit of like touching on the feet to like wear them down a little bit before we get to the ground usually. So it's it's interesting. Yeah, I think pulling guard, I think that's the move a lot of times. And I think I figured that out whatever day here pretty soon. You'll see when I figure it out.
Did you think that some people you just need to stand with though? Like to wait, like if you, let's just say, if I was going to grapple someone that I thought was just a way better grappler than me, but I could keep it standing and run the clock down some and then get them tired and maybe capitalize on that. Do you think that play would be smart in 6 minutes? Or do you think, nah, let's just get into the grappling and try to go this way, even though this guy's a little better, more technical than I am?
You run the risk of a zero.
I don't think you can wear them out in 6 minutes unless they're not in shape. I don't think anybody there got tired in a 6 minute match. There was nobody that was tired after their match in a way that it was like, oh, I was just tired. He just specifically wore me out, and that's why I lost. You know what I mean?
What about the third match? Like on the third match of the night, did you feel the effect then? Steven, did you freeze?
I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
He's like, I don't know. Yeah. Were the matches?
No, that's what I mean. Like for me, by the end of that, like the third match of the first night was Kevin, and so that I was on point, you know. And then the third match of night 2 didn't happen. That would have been Jake. So I don't know. And then the third match of the next night is going to be Elijah. So
we'll see.
Yeah, I think I was fresh. I was fresh every night at the third match, but like, yeah, I don't think cardio was a factor for anybody. Like not air breathing cardio.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just didn't know how that would stack up, like, or how you would think. And it might be that the matches were spaced out. Like you didn't have all 3 of your matches back to back to back to back. They were spaced out enough that you were coming back in kind of fresh anyway. Is that about 15
or 20 minutes?
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
You had enough time to do your Normatec ice pressure thingy.
Yeah, the Normatec sleeves. I use those as, you could do like a small cycle with that between each match if you wanted to or whatever. So yeah, just enough time to kind of use those things and get a little bit of a refresher if I had the time or if I had the want to do it. So yeah, I don't think you can wear someone out in this style without going for the sprint. You can't do that slow grind on them and make them tired, not in the 6 minutes.
And you would risk making yourself super exhausted trying to make them sprint as well. So probably
or you can get foot swept by a judo guy. Stupid things like that. You know, get bridged off by guys because you're just so going crazy looking for things or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even remember Josh being on top of me until last night. I didn't even know that he got on top.
I thought that's what you meant in the comments, was that you didn't remember that happening.
Yeah, I don't remember him being on top of me at all. So that's funny. I just remember crushing him. I just remember going out there head and arming him. I was like, yep, just walk right through him. No problem. But obviously it took a little bit of time. And honestly, like the match with Jake, in my mind, I did a lot better than it looked on tape.
I don't think it looked bad. I don't think it looked bad.
No, I'm just saying, like, he controlled or was on top a lot of the action.
Yeah.
But most of what he was doing, I was fine. Like, I had that elbow frame in his hip. And I'm a black belt and I know what I'm doing. So, like, I was not letting him. He was doing certain things, but I was not letting him do the things that he needed to get his spots. And so I was hoping I could get some errors in the algorithm, or so to say, based on some solid fundamental jiu-jitsu stuff. But he was countering all that stuff pretty well. Like he didn't overcommit to anything and make any bad mistakes. And like you said, if you listen to his later interview, he even said that he jumped off going for a submission a little too early because he lost it. And then that's how I was going to get on top. If you look though, we were at the edge of the mat right there when I got to that front headlock. And I would have tried to take his back, but all I saw was that edge in the concrete. So I would have liked to see what happened in that situation if it was in an open mat, but there's no way to tell at this point, obviously, how that would have went.
What your decision to shoot in that moment? What was it? Why did you shoot?
Who did I shoot on?
Jake. When you went to when y'all reset right there, you shot a shot.
When?
Right in that 47 seconds at the very end of that match. You don't remember that?
I don't know. No. I mean, I saw it in the video. I didn't think that was a shot. Was that a shot? I don't know. I think I was just trying to do anything at that point. It was like, I'm just going to headbutt this fool if I got to.
I don't know. You two are wrestlers over there. Was that a shot?
I don't think it was like a traditional shot, but he definitely
No,
grabbed
it
the
definitely
leg.
wasn't traditional, but he went for the
Yeah.
legs. He went for the lower body.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely a take trying to get the takedown. So.
It was a jiu-jitsu guy trying to shoot an American wrestler.
That's it. That's exactly what that was.
I'm not a shooter. But I needed to score, man. I was so desperate, dude. I was so desperate.
Hey, that reminds me. One of the I don't know who said it.
I got like 5 more minutes, y'all.
Yeah, I got you.
I do not know who said it. But somebody was talking about the 10-finger guillotine not being efficient. It was one of the commentators was saying like, "Oh, this 10-finger, that's the problem with it is that it's not efficient." And
Well, just because you don't have him in your guard, that's the problem with it. It's not that it's not efficient. It's just that I didn't have a guard.
Right.
So he passed around it.
like that's what I was saying though. Was these people who was the commentators last night?
That was Matt Scaff, Brandon's wife, Lindsay
and Joe
Oh,
Kai.
so it's the same ones
Yeah.
as always.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
guys.
same
It's
ones
always the
every
same
time.
ones.
Dude, like popping up to your feet and just pushing their head to the belly button is the way with the 10-finger. Like trying to finish it, like trying to get the guard or something. It's more of a sweep or something to get on top.
But I didn't have a guard, so that's what they were saying. So it was not the move to do because I didn't have a guard and I couldn't pop back up to my feet.
Right.
So that's what they were saying. It's like it was not the time to do it. I couldn't do it from right there, but I just grabbed it. So
Gotcha.
Egghead.
who was that?
asked-
Is that Josh? Is that how I got on top of Josh?
That's how Josh got on top of you.
Okay, that makes sense.
Wait,
Yeah, see, that was me just being dumb.
Egghead said, "Are you excited for season 3?" Question mark. Scaff said it, and he said Joe Kai. Does that mean Joe Kai's in season 3?
Oh, I'm taking that commentary gig, baby. We going to the top, son. We'll be the Joe Hogan of this thing. Season 3, the Dream Show is going on the road with the PGF. Based on what Brandon was saying last night, they're going to try to do some regional shows like in Jacksonville, Austin, other places, Atlanta, whatever. And then they'll get those winners to come in and be in the next season. I think he said he's going to do 135 women next and under. So,
I thought it was 170.
I don't know.
I thought it was 170. I heard 135 in women, but was that season 4 or season 3?
I think he lied to you in person and said 170 just to get you excited.
Just get me excited. Yeah.
And then now they pivoted to these 135 women's. At least that's what the chat was saying. I don't know.
Oh, he said no. He said no. Joe is the commentator, so that means that Joe is definitely in the commentator.
Okay.
So you and Joe Kai, that would be a good
Oh,
match.
he was just saying he was probably answering the question that Joe was the other commentator last night.
Yes, that may have been what he was answering.
He wasn't talking about me talking trash about taking somebody's job. Sorry about that. I'm not trying to steal anyone's job. I would never do that.
Cool, Steven. Do you want to close out? Tell anybody anything?
Sure, man. Yeah, thanks everybody that's tuning in on all this stuff, man. It is a grind. This has been a lot of work. So thank you, Isaac, for helping keep all this stuff on track, dude. It's a lot, man. This has been going on for a couple of months now, and we're living it still like every day. And it's coming out each time. It's a lot. Like it's a lot of stuff. It's not just a competition. And then if somebody says it's just a competition, they've never really lived this life that much. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, checking out our show for some more of the behind the scenes stuff. Thank you, obviously, to the Parkway Automotive Studio, Peach Podcast Syndicate, Works Bookkeeping and Accounting, Circle W Farms, CBD You and Me, Blind Lincoln Productions, Tent Planet Perry, Tent Planet Freaks, YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. No, man, but I love you guys. Thank you guys so much. I want to say next week you will see a lot, and not just in the joking way, but next week you'll get to see a lot.
All right.
Yeah, I know I ain't the
Peace.
best. Had to get that off my chest. David Hasselhoff.